Do people even critically consume Roblox games? Or is it just media that goes in one ear and comes out the other, like Skibbity Toilet, or Wednesday, or Garden of Banban? A lot of people will say that since Roblox is a platform mostly targeted and inhabited by children, that nobody really cares about a game's quality. The kids don't care because kids are stupid, and the teenagers and adults don't care because in their mind, it's just a kid's game, and they shouldn't be playing it. But at the same time, we see games like Forsaken, who manage to get terrible dislike ratios. Like, we're talking 50% on a platform where most games get a 90 to mid 80%. And I'm not saying that these ratios are entirely justified, because there's games that are made much more poorly with a higher ratio. But when I see a Roblox horror game with a garbage score, oh, I'm hooked, baby. Like, I have to play it. Even if it kills me. Even if the game is so bad that it's causing me to wither away. Something within me tells me to finish it and share my thoughts. Also, the game's creator DM'd me to give his game a try a while ago, so that's a bonus. I'm Breadian, and I talk about niche Roblox games, and today we're talking about Forsaken, and whether or not it is really that bad. One of the first things that people will tell you about this game is that it's hard. And also long. Oh boy. Forsaken starts out with you being told to investigate a house to find a missing actress by the name of Emma. And the first thing you're going to take note of this game is the art style, or aesthetic, or whatever you call it. The effort is clear, and the fact that there's effort there at all already puts it one step ahead of those experienced games. It's cute, and it reminds me of Judy, another game in which I like the look of it. I'm pretty sure that the creator of this game also had involvement with Judy, but I forgot. Anyways, the game hits you with some standard puzzle beats, and you have to press some levers to unlock the doors and stuff. And then you hear some commotion coming from the bedroom. Goddamn, me and who, am I right? Everything starts out relatively fine, but then the game hits you with a deal breaker. Like, as soon as I got to this point in the game, I immediately knew why it had a 50% score. There comes a segment where you have to solve a puzzle with the screaming girl monster in the same area as you. If she catches you, she instantly kills you, and the jump scare is annoying. Nobody likes a screamer while playing video games. She'd be kicked from the Xbox 360 party rather quickly, actually. So yeah, this is where I assume that the average player would leave the game out of frustration and give it a big fat dislike only to never return again. And to be fair, I don't blame them. I mean, I'm kind of used to playing bad Roblox horror games nowadays, and by now they're predictable enough that I should know what I'm getting into. But this Screamer Girl segment, whew, really came out of nowhere. Like, I was literally enjoying the game and admiring the atmosphere. I was even starting to wonder why it had such a slow score, and then BAM! It was as if the game's creator told me to look one way and then hit me in the back of the head while I was distracted. With a lead pipe. I actually went to bed after this happened. It was like 4 in the morning, okay? I ended up giving it another shot 1 week later. I did the same thing with Dolly and it worked. It's kind of a shame that Forsaken managed to drive off its players so early, because the rest of the game isn't really that bad. It's just normal Roblox horror game stuff with mazes and all. If you like The Mimic or Judy, then you probably like this game too. So yeah, after that debacle with the bookcase and the screaming girl, you make it to the 3rd floor. There's also an additional path that leads to the attic, but nope, your character admits that it would just be pointless, so you don't bother with it. When you try to enter Liana's room, Liana is the sister of Emma, and Emma is the girl who went missing that you're looking for, you find out that it's locked as well. Then the whole house starts filling up with a bunch of shit, and soon you come face to face with Emma. Except she's not normal Emma, her face is fucked up as if she was burnt with like acid or something. Then she fucking dips. I guess your character has L-Riz. Now comes the mandated part of every Roblox horror game. The maze segment, where you have to find objects. In my opinion, this part of the game isn't actually that bad, mainly because it only lasted a few minutes and there were multiple of us working together. And I kind of appreciated how it was done. The fetch quest segment takes place in this ghetto-ass basement with this girl named Liana who crawls on the ceiling and tries to munch your head off. You're tasked with finding 5 cogwheels while evading her, that of which are used to open a passageway. As you progress through it, some random guy clocks you in the back of the head, and then you wake up in some mannequin room. And then you walk through a hallway filled with mushrooms and grass, and yeah, that's the end of the chapter. In all honesty, I really don't remember much of the fuck was happening during the second half of the chapter. Pretty much everything that I learned about the characters was from reading the wiki after I beat the game in preparation for this video. I knew I had to find Emma, but I wasn't sure about the rest of the story. It seemed like I was kind of being thrown from set piece to set piece with, at the very least, I wasn't getting an easily accessible explanation, which is kind of a bad thing because you can imagine how confused the kids who played this game would be. On the contrary, I enjoyed the absurdity of the house, specifically in the beginning of the chapter. The layout of the house is goofy, but I was drawn to the almost fantasy-like aesthetic of it. The rooms were also labeled with signs, which were probably done in order to make the game look easier to play. I mean, seriously, there's a sign labeling the fucking hallway. Also, there's Among Us in this game. Very cute. Episode 2 starts out with you waking up in some grassy area, as if you've been teleported to some alternate world. Actually, wait, no, I lied. Episode 2 starts out with a warning saying that it's difficult and that any complaints about the difficulty will be ignored. Very pleasant thing to read. Anyways, there's a lady named Donna that you talk to, and she says that she wants her daughter, Ayla, back. Too bad though, because she's cursed and she was turned into a monster. Specifically, the worst kind of monster. A roaming NPC monster in a Roblox horror game. A truly tragic fate. Also, Donna herself is slowly turning into a monster. Anyways, you use a metal pipe to break the lock on the gate, and then you have to go inside and to Ayla's house and kill her. You have to blow out 13 candles while Ayla tries to catch you and munch your head off. And I'll be real here. Some of these candle spots are a little fucking goofy. After the blowing is complete, you pass out. God damn. Also, these flashing white transitions are not something I look back on very fondly. Not only are they annoying when you're used more than once, but they're painful when the game is mostly spent in the dark. Your eyes are adjusted to a dark environment, and then you just flashbang me. Alright, so after you kill her daughter, Donna thanks you, and the house is also infested with a bunch of black tentacle mold stuff everywhere. Donna also warns you of this thing called the Guardian of the Lost Runs, which I literally don't remember anything about, except that it intends to kill you or something. Then you go to a maze where you meet this statue named Zaros who tells you about a woman who roams the maze named Mia who can kill you with just one bitch slap. He also tells you that you need to find an orb. But guess what? The orb is split into 5 pieces. After you escape through the exit gates, you're teleported to a hotel filled with e-girls. You have to find 5 candles, whereas the cog puzzle in chapter 1 was relatively easy and didn't have to overstay its welcome. This chapter suffers heavily because there's 3 floors of hotel, plus the basement. The larger size of the maps in chapter 2 actively seem to weigh down the general enjoyment of the game. A game being difficult does not necessarily equate with it being unfun, time-consuming, boring, or annoying. Dying in a horror game multiple times, especially in a Roblox horror game, immediately shifts the game from scary to annoying. Episode 1 of Forsaken had a somewhat diverse level design, but Episode 2 is just the same format every time. Find objects in a maze while a roaming statue chases you. So after you complete the ritual, you free the hotel NPCs from their possession or whatever, and one of them says that they were cursed by this girl named Patricia, who summoned the demon Alater. And you know, honestly, I think this is a good time to bring up another horror game that's super similar to this one, Judy. Judy is a game that I felt relatively neutral about. It suffered from similar problems as this one, but I admired its genuine artistry and effort put into the atmosphere. Parts of the game were really annoying, and much like Forsaken, there's a thematic inconsistency between the first 2 episodes, but generally, I remember the game fondly for its artistic bits. Both of these games follow a similar format, where people are being possessed by a villain who wants to be really famous and popular, by the way. Also, the creator of Judy has a mutual friendship with me with the creator of Forsaken, so I don't know, maybe there's an explanation there somewhere for why these games are similar. Actually, let me ask him real quick. As time went by, Judy became one of my favorite Roblox horror games. The storyline inspired me too much to the point where I also make Forsaken story about a missing actress named Emma before the incident. Emma's stepmother, Patricia, loses every one of her family members, starting from her father to her own daughter. Patricia's mother left her when she was young. Her mother died in front of her. Her grandmother who takes care of her is gone. Her husband went missing. Her son left her because he thinks she's crazy. And one day she loses her precious daughter. And she went insane after her daughter's dead. One day she came across a book in the library. She found out about a demon named Alater. She manages to make a deal with Alater to return her daughter back to life. She must sacrifice someone beautiful as her. She has to sacrifice someone that looks like her daughter. It was Emma, an actress that became too famous recently. She was identical to her daughter as well. Forsaken isn't a game where I remember much of anything happening in terms of the story, and a lot of the details kind of faded from my head after I played it. During the script writing process, I had to constantly tab into the Forsaken wiki in order to piece together what was happening. However, on the contrary, I do remember certain parts of the game rather well, and my friends and I did have a good amount of fun playing it when the game wasn't constantly annoying us.
It's a cat girl? What the hell?
Wait, whoa, let me see.
Wait, get her back here, get her back here.
Yeah. Oh, she kind of bad though.
You gotta like hit the teleport button.
Can't you see I'm fucking trying?
Try harder.
I liked the house segment. I generally liked the game's weirdcore-esque aesthetic. This game has monumentally more effort put into it than most horror games that you'd see recommended in Roblox right now. I'm referring to the experience games, by the way. When I asked the creator of the game why he thinks the game is so hated, he replied with, "I don't know actually, but I think it's because of how poor the game was made back in 2022, February month. I made the game with a very poor laptop that is like 12 years old. It couldn't even handle the graphics of Roblox, so Forsaken even had low quality graphics and undetailed maps in the very early versions, poor storytelling, and probably because of the hard gameplay. I get tons of hate just because my game was too hard. I even get death threats just because the game was too long in my Forsaken Discord server before it became an information place. They also sent death threats because of reasons such as the game being impossible to finish, even though it's possible. I remade the game a few times with little changes and fixes until I got a new laptop in Halloween of 2022, easier and short as possible. I tried my best making it easier by putting hints and glowing effects to the items that players need to use to proceed. But even though I remake the game, the hate still continued, and this time it became worse. I got death threats again and got raided in Forsaken server again. Random people that I don't even know sent NSFW and a lot of disgusting things to the channels. I stopped before it got worse, at least. There's also a person who constantly attacks me with making alt accounts, saying that they have motion sickness and that I should remove the camera shake effects from my game, and that they even call it life-threatening. Saying that they almost died playing my game. Imagine if my game reviews were that dramatic. Your game was so bad it almost killed me. Are you fucking kidding? I don't want to remove anything from my game, because if I remove the camera shake from the game, I have to rescript the entire game again, including all parts that takes a lot of time. I made it like that so the game will have realistic atmosphere, but people always love to ruin everything with weird excuses. A lot of things happened which made me lose interest working on Forsaken. I remade the game a lot of times to make it better, just to get better reviews at least, but after some time it became annoying dealing with all these people, and I stopped working on Forsaken for 4 months. There is no update in Forsaken since August of 2023, and soon I plan to discontinue the game entirely. It's like an endless loop that I can't get rid of, and I will just discontinue and move on. I'd rather working on new things and new projects. I liked how each monster had its design, name, sound effects, and animations, even if a lot of them are forgettable. I liked the e-girls in the hotel and their unique animations, and I liked Zaros. I thought he was cute, even though all he did was just sit there and act as a sentient statue. The creator of the game also built this game on a shitty laptop that ran Roblox Studio at 10, so that's actually kind of admirable. Gives me flashbacks to when I used to record videos on my shitty laptop and edit them on my iPad mini. However, as with most games that I like, I feel as this effort is much more realized in the intended result. Forsaken is a game that I find myself, a lot of the time, appreciating it more than enjoying it. However, I'm not entirely sure that 50% like ratio is entirely deserved. I believe that Roblox like ratios are not representative of the game's entire quality, and Forsaken seems to further that conclusion. Kids got to the screamer part, clicked out, and disliked it before they could even see the rest of the game. I don't think that they're unjustified or that their opinion is wrong per se, but Forsaken should be observed as why the Roblox like ratio isn't entirely telling. I think that if the game was easier and more accessible for children in terms of difficulty, as well as having the story be presented in a much easier way, then perhaps the like ratio will be higher. In fact, coming back to Judy, I actually found Judy's story much easier to follow than Forsaken, or maybe just remove the screamer part. TLDR, if you're making a horror game, or just a Roblox game in general, do not make your audience click out of the game early. They will dislike it and they will not come back. Or in this guy's case, they'll like send death threats or whatever the fuck. Anyways, I'm Breadian, I talk about niche Roblox games. Thanks for watching my review on Forsaken, and thank you to Volcan for interviewing and chatting with me about your game. I'm sorry people were so mean to you over Roblox of all games. Please consider checking out my other videos as they cover similar Roblox games, and be sure to subscribe so you won't miss out on my next video.